Done?
Yes, yes, yeah.
So good evening, everyone. In fact, when I was looking at Jason's slide, I was also wondering how we chose the same, template itself, unknowingly. So I should say that this is something that we have, what we share in common. Most of us form the same team. So maybe what you're hearing also will be a little bit of matching here and there. So as Jason was talking to you, that taking a flagship conference, you have a little bit of lesser risk compared to something that you are going to do on your own. So what I'm going to tell you is this: when you start with a goal, right? So in that case, the question is, what do you intend from the conference? That's the first question. So what I'm showing you is are some pictures that you would expect. Okay, this is like this. The conference should be like this, etc. So this is what you have to decide. What do you want your conference to be like? Do you want to be with like what you have, what you are saying? A mela, a lot of people are coming in. There are a lot of people who are going to drop in, and there will be a lot of talking between them. There will be a lot of networking, and you want to have a lot of sideline programs along with. Now, is that what you are intending to do? So that is where you have to first decide what is that you want your conference to be. So the question comes in as, do you want it to be small? Do you want to be large? Do you want it to be really huge? So these are the questions that you have to ask before you actually decide upon something. So in the first place, I put flagship conference. If it is a flagship conference like what Jason started off with, the risk of doing is slightly less with us, because you are actually going to take up the responsibility of doing a conference which is owned by IEEE and has been running successfully elsewhere. So your duty is to take up this version and handle it in such a way that it is matching the requirements of what was the earlier versions, right? So in that case, as they have their own principles or policies of handling things. So what we have to do is we have to match up with their requirements. That's all. So in that case, to match up to that, while you give the application itself, you have to make the claim that you are proclaiming it to be you are confident, or you're capable of doing it. Your potential should be proved at that point itself. So if your application, your proposal is quite convincing for the IEEE team, then only you will be chosen for the flagship conference. So in that case, a flagship conference, if I'm saying, the risk of doing it is slightly less on our side as organizers, right? Whereas if you are trying to build a flagship conference, you have a lot of responsibilities of yourself. So what I have to say is that you should have some people who are so passionate about what you're going to do. Not just you, not just you. So there should be a team of people who are so passionate in doing it. And then you plan meticulously. Then only we can build a flagship conference from what you do from scratch. So that is why I have shown a picture on the right side. You will be understanding that this is the same Pesgray photos that we had, and you can see Jason also there. So what we have been doing together, the success that we say that we have a passion and we do it together because we have a very good team. If I lack something on my side, I know whom to call and ask for the help. That I do every time also. So that is one way that when you want to develop a flagship conference, you have to have a best team with passion. The third point that I have put is sponsors. Do you expect that your conference will have sponsors from one side? You can have financial sponsors, you can have technical sponsors. Do you have somebody like that? If you have to think correspondingly, because if you are going to have a IEEE conference, you are going to give the sponsors, it will be actually IEEE owned conference, right? So are you going to give it completely for IEEE? In that case, if application should also be owned by IEEE. So such questions are usually asked when you apply for the conference at the NCE itself, at the meetings and conference entity itself. There itself, you have to fill those applications wherein you have to define what is the way that you're going to do the conference. So These are to be very clear before you start off, right? Then another question that I have put in is, if I say small, large, huge, the words, the small, large, huge, does it actually look at the budget? Is budget a metric for conference success? Do you think that a large number of people coming in is the best conference? Well, I won't accept it, because the bigger in case is more number of people are getting involved and into diverse areas, if that is so. But on the other hand, if you're really focused about and you're going to run a conference on a particular topic, then even if it is not big, even if the budget that you are putting in is very low, even then this conference can be very successful if you are continuing to do so. If that gets along, like you have a team which is submitting the paper in this conference, this version, next version, that is also a success. Because we always keep on saying, like we have some national conferences also, like in NPSC, NPEC, National Power Electronic and National Power System Conference. There, the researchers who are from that field will be continuing to put the papers on that conferences, right? So that is being done because they have what to say, a trust on the quality being maintained. So it is not the budget, how huge it is, it doesn't matter. The success of the conference lies with the quality, that we have to always remember. Now, what should we plan first? That is something that we have to, is it that bigger conference that you do, smaller conference? Are you going to have a flagship conference that is being taken up and doing? Are we going to do? So out of this, what we have to grow first are majorly the dates, the venue. Again, now when I'm saying dates, if it is a flagship, usually they'll specify. Otherwise, when you choose, you have to be very careful in choosing the dates, because there may be some routine, regular conferences which will be running at those dates. So you have to actually look at the conference calendar, which usually will be available in the IEEE site, and you can see from there whether there is some major conference during those dates. And when you plan, naturally plan it at least 2 years in advance, if not 18 months to be minimum. If you don't plan before 18 months, then you'll be in a very tough situation to handle the whole thing. So, and flagship conferences, usually they don't restrict even if to wait 18 months, but MC, if you are applying for the first time for a particular conference, they don't specifically say that it is 18 months, but now they have reduced. That also I have to say, because now we are more or less running on the virtual. So when we are on the virtual conference, completely online conference, they have reduced the time duration also from 18 months to 12 months. So whatever we are saying is between those. So one, if it is a physical, completely physical and conference on site, then we have to have an 18 months gap. While if it is an online conference, you can have a 1 year gap. So the dates, whenever you are seeing, you have to see that the dates are not falling at the same time as any other conference, which is organized maybe in your region, maybe in your country, or maybe in the same area. All these things you have to look at. Now, venue is another major important aspect, as Jason was saying, because venue is something that is more important if you are expecting foreign authors to come in. If they have to come, they do have logistics to get them there. Now, if you are arranging something in your campus, right, and the logistics for them to come from the airport to the campus, you have to see the expense that involves, because much of them, the authors may be coming in by their own, but the speakers, the organizing team, you have to arrange the whole logistics for all of them. So that involves a lot of money. So the venue that you choose should also be good enough to handle all these together. Then sometimes because there are two things that you have to always remember that we have always faced. If you are in the campus, you have a lot of arrangements that comes in automatically to you, like the separate parallel halls that you want, the ecosystem that you have, your projector, your whatever you want, the PA system, everything comes in automatically, because It is already there in the college, right? In the campus when you are doing. But if you are doing it for the purpose of the biggest number, then you move to some outside place and you go to some hotels. In the hotel, you have to remember that you have to pay for everything. You have to pay for the every bit of the arrangement that they do with the PA system, the speaker that you're going to put in, the what is a screen that you put in for projecting, the projector as such, even the cable. You remember the smallest cable that you put in between the projector and your computer. That cable itself, it will be very difficult to find inside a hotel. So there, the venue is very important. So you have to you have to plan yourself. That is a major thing. If you can do both are good, both are acceptable, both can be done, but the meticulous planning that you do is what is more important, right? So in the, as I said, in the MC itself, you have to, when you give the application to the MC itself, they ask for some of the major things, right? So general chair, publication chair, financial chair, they are certainly required while doing the MCA itself. But the most important is the TPC, but comes in. That I'll come later. But these 4 people are to be identified even before you apply for the MCA. These 4 are to be identified before applying for MCA. Now, so that is what I have to say about the goals. Then the thing is, if you have the goal, like you have said large, huge, or small, whichever conference that you have. Now, how to choose the theme? Now, in the case of themes, because I have seen a lot of conferences which says international conference on, and a lot of things will be going in, right? So when you choose such a diverse theme, the problems can come in, right? In the case of choices, if it is a flagship conference, you, as I said, the risk is less because the flagship conference always, most of the time it is offered by either the R10 like 10Con or 10Sim, or it will be owned by the society. So when it is owned by the society, it is clear cut. You don't have to much worry about where you have to put a theme in. But of course, when you put the theme in, it has to be very, very relevant. Now, what I have shown is on the right side, I've shown some of the very current trend that comes in where they are talking about themes for each track, not just with the whole theme for the conference. They sometimes choose the theme for each track also, but that is not so important. It is left to you to decide. But most of the time, we have to choose a theme which is relevant and very catchy, because if people read, oh, okay, this is good. So that image should come, that catchy. It should be relevant to the research area. It can be, as I said, if it is a diverse, it will be very difficult for you to get a theme which is matching all the diverse topics that you have put in the under one umbrella. There is nothing wrong in doing everything under one umbrella, but when you design the theme, that theme should also match the diverse topics that comes in. So that is something that you have to remember about it, right? And then trendy, relevant and trendy is something, because, and this is where you have to look at also. We should have something, a theme which is very simple for everyone to remember. When you choose the theme catchy, trendy and all, please see that you are actually not copying also, right? Or there is something that a similar theme is there in some conference, right? Most of the time what happens is we'll be choosing a relevant topic. It will be so relevant that so many people will be having conference on the same thing. So even unknowingly, we should not have a theme which is there or which is similar to what is there in the other conference. So this is where you have to be very careful about choosing the theme itself, right? Now, the next, once you have chosen the theme, then we'll come down. Okay, that is the theme. Now coming down, break it down to topics. So as we started off, if it is diverse theme, you have a larger area. So larger target, more domains, more topics, more tracks. You can have more special sessions on that. This is really easier also and a wider aspect. But one caution you should have, like if you are holding it for the first time, you have to prove the quality of your conference by doing it for the first time, right? So At that time, if you are doing it for the first time, the quality benchmark that you set for doing it, you should set in such a way that this can be maintained throughout, right? And in that case, it is easier if you go for the focused theme, because in the case of a focused theme, you are having for a focused research, like say, in a particular area, even if it can be even in IoT or even in big data, whatever that is. But that focused theme, in that, there is a focused research group which is working on that, not in one university. A lot of universities will be working that. So the easiness there is you have specific domains. Then the additional advantage that you get there is that you can choose the topics quite dense and deep. Because I remember once one student was telling that whatever that person is doing as the research, the exact topic is appearing as one of the track name in a particular conference. So see that when they match the actual research of a researcher, that is quite certain that that particular person will be sending it. And sometimes earlier we used to get so many mails also. Even now people will be getting a lot of mails asking for you to submit your conference, because we see that you are researching in this area. Why don't you submit so and so? But certainly, if you are choosing something which is relevant, which is specific to a domain and quite deep in research to a specific to that area, you can have a lot of papers from the actual research group that's coming in. That's why I chose the example of having a NPSC, the National Power System or National Power. Even if it is a national conference, people do try to attend it, because we know that the all the researchers and professors who are actually doing research in that, they will all come there. So if I'm presenting and I can get a lot of responses to what I'm doing from all of them. So that is the best platform for the researcher to get himself or herself evaluated on one. Second thing, the responses that they are getting there will certainly refine their research. So even if it is a focused area and you make it smaller and involving key research into it, that's a very good choice of yours, right? But it's your decision, of course. And then the what Sarada madam was also saying, and Deepak Mathur sir was saying, whenever we do, we make we look at only the researchers, right? And the researchers and the academia comes in whenever it comes to publication, conference, etc. Most of the time we leave behind the industry people. But we have seen that if we add industry challenges and topics, you have to have a lot of discussion with the industry people, ask them, is this relevant? You have to have a lot of discussions with them. But if you ask and if you put some of the good challenges that comes in that particular industry, then that will also be a catchy element. Because whenever an industry challenge is being discussed in a conference and you have a lot of industry professionals there discussing the same, that will be a driving force for our younger group of researchers to look at the industry challenges. One, another is they'll identify that they have a lot of opportunities for solving some problems in the industry, and this may be helping them in their further career building also. So this is one of the things that you should have. Now I have added the side tracks and the special sessions, because in the case of a diverse conference, we can have a lot of special sessions in each track. That's why that's special sessions. Whereas in the case of specific cases, you can add a lot of side tracks for the researchers, which may be on a broader context. For example, if you do something on, say, publishing or something on industrial career opportunities for researchers and such side tracks, you can always do that in the conference for the focused theme. So both have their own plus and minus, but both are good. No doubt about it, because we have always been associating with both. Now, as I said, out of the four, the main chairs that we call general chair, the finance chair, the publicity chair, the most heavier job comes on the technical program chair. So the first question I have put, are you ready to take the pressure? That is something that you have to, because right now I'm having the pressure on my back and I'm supporting myself on a cushion and sitting over here because of the pressure that I had. Right? So you should be ready to take the whole pressure, because one thing, you are the person who has to act throughout, right from the first planning stage till the publication comes in the IEEE Explore. Until that time, your job goes on, right? So one, you have to take a lot of pressure. You have to take it as such, because what you are going to do is one involving the conference management system. That's why I have put the second question as that. Are you confident with the conference management systems? You have to be very confident with that. You have to be working with that, because there are a lot of conference management systems available. Each one of them have their own good and bad, and what is the one which is more comfortable for you? Because we have several options, so you have to look at one, how is it, the budgetary, the expenses that you are going to charge. Are we capable of putting in people, more number of tracks, more number of reviewers, etc. So that conference management system, you should be well versed in working with the conference management system. Then only you can take up the technical program chair. Then the responsibility comes in for the technical program chair like this: fixing of deadlines. The general chair and the TPC can sit together and do it. There's nothing wrong, but most of the time what happens is the deadline fixing is more importantly the duty of the TPC, because that is the person who has to say when should the call for paper go, when should the submission be closed, when should we start the review, when should we close the review, when should we give the results, when should we have the camera ready print, then when should we start the registration, when should we get completely done, then once you have the complete registration done, what are the when should we have the complete schedule published. All these comes on to you. So the fixing of deadlines, the TPC and the general chair have to sit together and then do it. Okay, then that is about the fixing the deadlines. Then comes the choice of policy. Like, why I'm sitting the choice of policy is, like, how many papers or how many authors can attend the conference. You allow only one author to come attend. How many authors can present? Now, if you will be thinking these are all silly matters, but these are very important when you come to an actual conference being held in physical, not in online mode, not in the virtual mode. When you are holding the conference there, you can always see that one paper will have so many authors. And if you allow everyone to come in, then your budget will be in a problem, right? You have to give naturally they come in, you have to have the total expenses on food and other arrangements for all the others, which will be a difficult policy. So that policy that you are going to decide have to be in discussion with the general chair, the change the choice of policy. Then the another thing that the major thing that you are having with your own is to check with the plagiarism. IEEE is quite very strict about this matter of plagiarism. Whatever paper that we accept, you have to always remember that whenever we are accepting a paper, the author should also be informed that our policy is that the IEEE standard of plagiarism should be obeyed. So if their paper is not passing the plagiarism check by the cross check, then their paper cannot be submitted. That is there. Another one. So while doing the quality review itself, quality review also, you have to think about this plagiarism part also. Then the point that I have put in the regular communication is one thing that you have to have a very it's a big hectic job, because you're getting papers and you're giving it to the review, and you will be having a lot of people in between also. You may be having some meta reviews, you may be having reviewers. See, the communication in between them, if you don't have the frequent backing up of following up of all these, then you'll not be getting things done on a regular basis. So And so that's the communication part. One. Second thing, you have to have the regular meeting of the organizing committee full. Like you have to have a regular session, like say every 2 weeks you are going to discuss, every month you are going to say. It depends on the frequency. It depends on the conference. If you are nearing the conference, more meetings. But in the planning stage also, you should have 2 or 3 meetings together. So regular meeting of the organizing committee should be there. Then the scheduling part, like main, what all should be there in the sidelines, what all can we have? Because most of the time when we arrange IEEE meetings, you can have several things like industry tracks, women track, industry, then YP track, etc. So what all can go in the sidelines, that also you have to decide. Then the keynotes and the tutorial sessions, these are one very important for us, because while having keynotes and tutorial sessions, what we are getting is those speakers, very good speakers, and the chance of our participants to interact with them. That is a major thing that you should remember. So as many number of good keynote speakers, good tutorial session speakers are coming in, it is the best thing that you can do for the complete participants of the conference. Because we have seen that when good researchers come in, they do always want to discuss something with the experts in that field. And if you get as many number of keynote speakers and tutorial speakers, that will be the best thing that you can do. And in particularly because it's IEEE conference that we are talking about, you can get as many number of IEEE people there, right? So that is the advantage that you can have. Now, the next thing that I have is the team. Who are all there with you, the technical team? So we always keep saying this, the success lies with team only. Together, everyone achieves more. So your team, the way you identify your track chairs, identify your meta reviews are all important, because one, the track chairs, they should be experts in that track. Meta reviewers also, they should be good. They can be the same, they can be additional also. Because sometimes the track chairs that we choose will be very, what to say, senior people who may not be having sufficient time for sparing for this. But you can have a sufficiently working people to come as meta reviewers, but they should be experts in that particular track that you're going to give. So the identification is very important for you, because they are going to hold the, what to say, the track, the quality standard is being maintained only because of it, right? Then how many reviewers can you pitch in? Because this is one of the questions that we always ask. If you have, say, if you plan to have some 200 papers coming in, how many reviewers would you require? Sorry. Because what we always try to do is, for reviewing the paper, we ask for at least a minimum 2 reviewers to be there, and then a meta reviewer. And but if most of the time what happens is you have 2 reviewers, one will say accept, the other will say reject. Then the meta reviewer is in a position that he cannot take a decision. So go for the next. So you give for 3, you can even give for 4, but maximum that you have to do until you take a final decision, right? So maximum for taking the decision as to, like, your decision is the decision of the majority, which actually you also understand that it is reflecting the quality of the paper, right? But there is one thing that you should always say, if the paper is, say, out of the scope of the conference, you can always say that, and say that thank you, you have submitted, but we are unfortunate that we cannot include this paper because your paper is out of the scope. So that you can always say, but otherwise the decision should be by the decision of the majority of reviewers. So you have to pitch in as many number of papers that you are. If you are planning a conference of having a maximum, say, 200 papers or 400 papers, whichever is the number of papers coming in, remember that you have to have that many number of reviews into 2 minimum, into 2, that many number of reviews required. How many paper can you give to a particular reviewer? Can you give 10 papers to a reviewer? Then it won't be getting done at all. We know that, because we are all human beings. So you can give a maximum of 2 or 3 papers to a particular reviewer. So you have to multiply that many. So 200 if the paper, then you have to get 400. And if you get only 2 per reviewer, then 400 by 2. So you need 200 reviewers. This number you have to always remember. that many number of reviewers you have to pitch in before you start. That is something very important because, and once you have that many number, the major thing comes in here, tracking of each person. You have to track the meta reviewer, you have to track the reviewers, and then the last part is the major point that is coming for all. Matching these activities, all these activities have to be matching with the deadline. So the following up process and coordinating the whole activities together in the technical program side, the whole responsibility lies on the technical program chair. But if the technical program chair can always find a set of teams with you, who forms the complete technical program committee, then you can get it done. Like what I always say, I'm so happy that we have a team. So any difficulty, I'll be calling on Jason. I can call on Bobby. I can call on Biju. I can call. So many people are there around me in section itself. Suresh is there. Like, so for whatever problem we have, I get a lot of people to call upon and ask for a help. So build a team and you make it a success. So all is well that ends well. So it's a good thing that if you are planning for a conference, go for it. We are always there to help you out. Please call upon us. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Bijuna. That was a very energetic talk.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So shall I remove the sharing?
Yeah, yes, please. Yeah.
Yes.
Trupti, would you?
Yes, yes. Thank you, madam. We really appreciate sharing your experience in this forum. We could actually feel the effort you would have put over the years to achieve and establish such conferences. So thank you for reiterating the fact that quality of the conference is something that you cannot compromise on. That is what will enable us all to leave a legacy for a conference so that it could be it could continue over the years, right? So thank you for reiterating that and letting us know how we can maintain that by coming up with a very effective technical program committee. So it was it was a detailed talk, and I hope that all of the participants would definitely take home this particular point. So I would like to present a virtual memento in appreciation.
Thank you.
For
Thank you.
enthusiastic session. Thanks a lot, madam. It was a pleasure hearing you talk.
Thank you.
Yeah. So with this, I think we are at the end of today's sessions of this workshop. Thank you all for the patient listening throughout these sessions, and it would be very effective if people ask questions actually. So if there are any questions that you want to put across to madam, you are welcome to do so. Maybe we can.
Yeah. So I think tomorrow we will be starting sharp at 6:30 p.m. All are welcome, and please join on time. Tomorrow we have 3 sessions, basically discussing on various aspects of the conduct of a quality conference. So thank you all. Have a good day ahead. Good night. We will see tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.